there's actually someone left who is not involved in Deadpool and Wolverine? Of course, we'll clarify who that is today. There's also exciting news from the Lord of the Rings universe. While the Hunger Games are still far from over, some much-loved series do have to come to an end, while others don't. Curious? Find out what all of this means here in the Kino Check News. After Adam Wingard announced his retirement from the MonsterVerse at the end of May, the search for a new director for the Godzilla x Kong sequel began at full speed. Now, it seems they found what they were looking for. The director of Godzilla x Kong 2 is set to be Australian filmmaker Grant Spitore, who previously directed the science fiction thriller I Am Mother with Hilary Swank. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the new monster blockbuster will be written by David Callahan, who previously worked on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, as well as Mortal Kombat, for example. But he was also behind the story of Godzilla in 2014. Spitore thus succeeds Adam Wingard, who left the universe of Godzilla and Kong for the time being in order to devote himself to the A24 horror film Onslaught. However, this doesn't mean that we won't be seeing any more MonsterVerse movies from Wingard. After all, the director has repeatedly expressed his desire to bring his trilogy to an end. Good news for all the Hunger Games fans. Another prequel is in the works, which has been announced alongside the book of the same name. It is called Sunrise on the Reaping and is set 24 years before the events of the first novel. The story once again centers on the Hunger Games, specifically the 50th Hunger Games, also known as the Second Quarter Quell. The character of Haymitch Abernathy, the sole winner of the 12th District and later mentor to Katniss Everdeen and Peeta Mellark, plays a key role in these 50th Hunger Games. He was previously played by Woody Harrelson in the Hunger Games movies. However, as the prequel is set many years before the main series, it is very likely that the character will be recast. The novel, which is going to be published next year, is once again written by author Suzanne Collins. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Francis Lawrence is also in talks to direct again. He most recently directed the prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, as well as the last 3 parts of the film series starring Jennifer Lawrence. The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping will be released in cinemas on November 20th, 2026. The live-action remake of Disney's Moana continues to gain momentum. It has now been announced who will take on the role of the iconic princess. The role will be played by newcomer Catherine Laga'aia, who, according to The Hollywood Reporter, has succeeded in securing the role of Moana. This could be her big breakthrough, although her father already appeared as Captain Typho in several Star Wars movies over 20 years ago. According to Laga'aia herself, she is delighted to be playing the role, as the character is one of her all-time favorites. She also has close ties to the Samoan Islands due to her roots. The young actress will be supported by Dwayne Johnson, who will also take on the role of the lovable Maui in the live-action adaptation of Moana. The highly anticipated project will be directed by Thomas Kail, whose previous experience includes the musical Hamilton. Jared Bush, who wrote the original film, and other animated films such as Zootopia and Encanto, will write the screenplay. The new adaptation of Moana is scheduled for release on July 10, 2026. Things are getting more tangible. With Toy Story 5, another adventure in the popular animation franchise awaits us in 2026. This is to be directed by an absolute Pixar veteran. We are talking about Andrew Stanton, who has already worked as a writer for Pixar on several occasions. In addition to the Toy Story films, he has also written other big hits such as Finding Nemo, WALL-E, and Monsters, Inc. For Toy Story 5, he will now also be working as a director for the first time. As Screen Rant reports, Pixar Chief Creative Officer Pete Docter announced at a preview screening of Inside Out 2 that Stanton would be directing the 5th installment in the series. A perfectly understandable move. After all, Stanton has been firmly associated with the franchise since the 90s. Toy Story 5 is currently still at an early stage of production, so not a great deal of information is known yet. But the makers have already hinted that this time, the journey will take a completely unexpected turn and is set to surprise the audience. Buzz Lightyear and Woody will definitely be back, as Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, who provided the voices for the characters, have confirmed. Toy Story 5 will be released in theaters on June 19, 2026. At last, with The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim, another adventure from the world of J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy epic is just around the corner. This time in the form of an anime. The first images are now available. The images, published by Entertainment Weekly, show both the heroine and the antagonist of the War of the Rohirrim. Helm's daughter Hera can be seen armed with a sword and surrounded by masked figures. According to the voice actress Gaia Wise, Emma Thompson's daughter, Hera is a fierce and extremely complex character who would lay down her life for her people. Wolf, who leads the armies of the Dunlendings to war against Helm's Kingdom, is likely to be just as complex. According to producer Philippa Boyens, Wolf's strength lies in the fact that he is neither a wizard nor a Dark Lord like the well-known villains from The Lord of the Rings. He is simply a person who tackles crises head-on, and that makes him even more threatening. The story of The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, takes place exactly 260 years before the events surrounding Frodo and the Ring of Power. We are presented with an era full of conflict and heroism in which Helm Hammerhand, voiced by Succession star Brian Cox, plays a crucial role as the Ninth King of Rohan. He reigns at a time when the kingdom is fighting against the Dunlendings, a particularly fierce tribe who are later supported by Saruman in the main trilogy. The Fortress of Helm's Deep, the scene of the epic battle from the Two Towers, is also set to play a decisive role in this conflict. The animated movie will be directed by Kenji Kamiyama, known for Blade Runner Black Lotus and Ultraman. He also worked on Akira and was responsible for the screenplays for the classics Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex and Blood the Last Vampire. Peter Jackson, meanwhile, will work as a producer. The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim is scheduled for release in theaters on December 13th of this year. While the fourth season of The Boys premieres on Amazon Prime Video in a few days, author Eric Kripke commented on the future of the series and made it clear that it will end after its fifth season. Kripke made the announcement on his X account. According to Kripke, it had always been the plan to end the series after the fifth season. At the same time, the author of The Boys is looking forward to bringing the superhero story to a gory, epic, and moist conclusion. It sounds like they really want to go the extra mile towards the end. But there's no reason to be sad. After all, the spin-off Gen V, which deals with a young generation of superheroes, will also get another season. However, this has been postponed slightly due to the sudden passing of Chance Perdomo. Amazon is also working on another spin-off set in Mexico City, so we will continue to be treated to projects from the Boys universe in the coming years as well. Bad news for all Swifties. Contrary to all rumors, superstar Taylor Swift will not be making an appearance in Deadpool and Wolverine. This was exclusively confirmed by Entertainment Weekly. The first rumors started back in October of last year, when the singer was spotted at a Kansas City Chiefs game with Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and director Sean Levy. Because of this particular combination, many fans speculated that Swift could possibly take on the role of Dazzler in the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine. Dazzler is one of Marvel's most powerful superheroines and has the ability to convert any type of sound into beams of light. She is also an extremely talented singer and very adept at hand-to-hand combat, making her a perfect fit for the superstar. What's more, Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy have repeatedly made vague statements to suggest that, in theory, anything is possible in the Deadpool universe. Then, the rumors really gained a lot of attention a few days ago when an IMAX poster of Deadpool and Wolverine was released, showing the two heroes wearing friendship bracelets in typical Swiftie style. Whether Taylor Swift could possibly still take on a role in the MCU remains to be seen. Early rumors suggest that Kevin Feige is toying with the idea of bringing Swift into the MCU. We'll keep you up to date, as always. Dracula and Mavis are back. With worldwide box office takings of over $1.3 billion, the Hotel Transylvania franchise remains a huge success, even though Part 4 was no longer released in theaters. Now, the franchise is to be expanded by means of a spin-off series, which is currently being worked on at Netflix. The new series, called Motel Transylvania, is set after the events of the movies. The story once again centers on Count Dracula and his daughter Mavis, who moved to the California coast together to open a motel. The motel is to house both humans and monsters. However, it is not yet known whether other well-known characters from the Hotel Transylvania universe will make an appearance alongside Dracula and Mavis. Netflix has also published a first image showing the both of them looking down proudly on their new project. On closer inspection, though, it is noticeable that Dracula is crossing his fingers behind his back. Is he possibly up to something? Although it is currently unknown whether Adam Sandler and Selena Gomez will return to their speaking roles, all signs point to it. After all, a Hotel Transylvania spin-off without the involvement of the two stars would be unimaginable for many fans. The release of Motel Transylvania is currently slated for 2025. That's it for this week's top news. Feel free to comment down below which piece of news you're most excited about. And if you still have some free time on your hands, make sure to check out our preview for Dune Prophecy. a series from the Dune universe that takes place 10,000 years before the main events of the movies. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week for more KinoCheck news.